Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A very good afternoon to everyone. I'm glad you're an audience today for my first TED Talk. My 9 years as an educator, my students have always told me that I'm a very good storyteller. And with the theme today, I bring to you where the storyteller is the story itself. That's me. That's me in October 2022, enjoying myself at the peaks of Mount Titlis, Switzerland. When I thought my life was at its best, when I thought I was at the peak of my career, when I thought that there could be nothing that could make me happier. But what if I told you there's something that changed? What if I told you, just 2 months later, I almost lost my life? 2 months later, 2023, which began as a year of hope, turned into a year of survival, a battle of survival. 2023 began with the diagnosis that I least expected in my life, and came with the announcement of 3 catastrophic words: you have cancer. Cancer, a disease that is very underrated in the society, where people just associate it with baldness, and there's much, much more to it. When I thought my life was running smooth, I think I had to be taught a lesson where you look forward to the future events. You are living in the memories of your past, but what we don't cherish is today. And that is what I bring to you today. Here goes my story. The year 2023, as it began, January was the month, and I was told that I have a tumor in my abdomen. Tumor the size of a 4-month fetus. Yes, you heard that right, a 4-month fetus. And it did go unnoticed. I do remember the night of the diagnosis. I remember how me and my family members, my parents, my sister, they did not sleep that night. I had questions as to whether I would survive or not, whether I would live or not. Was it the last few days that I was living, or was there more to it? I never knew that I would survive. I would live. I would be here one day telling you my story. Just 2 months into my diagnosis, while I was correcting a few answer scripts back home then, I read a note from a student just on the last answer sheet. He wrote, and I quote, "Dear Bhavika ma'am, I don't know whether you're reading this or not, but if you are, please come back soon. We don't know what has happened to you, but English doesn't sound like English without you." And there, I knew there is somebody waiting for me, somebody that is keenly anticipating my arrival back in school. That was one of the key motivating factors in my life. A week after my diagnosis, I underwent a major surgery, and 4 weeks later, I had my reports out, which told me that the tumor is malignant and I have cancer. I had to undergo 4 chemotherapies, and I started looking forward to the last day of my last chemo cycle. I started planning, and as this quote says, when life feels steady, expect a new twist in the tale. So every time we feel that life is smooth, we feel that life is steady, there is something new that is coming. So as I told you, I was expecting a very smooth transition into my chemotherapy. And I was looking forward to the last day, which was supposed to be 23rd May. So after being diagnosed in January, 23rd May was expected to be the last day of my chemotherapy. But there was more to it. There were more things that I had to learn. And that was, in April, I still remember the night when I had to be rushed to the hospital. I had to be rushed to the hospital because of acute abdominal pain. Pain that was nowhere listed in the chemotherapy. Pain that which was nowhere a part of my journey. Where did it come from? 25 days in the hospital, and I got a good time to reflect on where my life was heading. 25 days in the hospital with no food and water. I learned how important it is for each one of us to be grateful for what we have. It could be as small as a bit of food that we take every day, a sip of water that we take. Because presence is felt only when it is absent. And it's a very ironical statement when I say presence is felt in absence. I felt the presence of food, water, only when I was told not to have it. There goes the next part, where I had to undergo a second surgery. Nowhere in the list, nowhere undersigned in the treatment that I was going through. Amidst all this, what we don't know is the major side effect of chemotherapy, that is loss of hair. I think most of us, when you talk of a cancer patient, the first thing that you see is that he's got no hair. So cancer taught me detachment. It taught me that every single bit of our lives is valuable. That could be a strand of your hair or any body part that you have with you. Be grateful for it. For when you don't, you know how it is. So dear children, ladies and gentlemen, it's important for us to value what we have, value what makes an important part of our life. I want you to do a little exercise with me, and that's one thing that has been a part of my daily life after my diagnosis. I want you to repeat 3 words after me. And I quote, I am alive. Let's do it again with your right hand over your left part of the chest. Feel your heartbeat and say, I am alive. I didn't hear you. Can you be louder? Did you feel your heart pumping? You're alive. There cannot be anything important than this. We crib over small things in our lives. We complain of small things in our life. But what we don't remember, what we always forget, is that the greatest blessing is your being alive. You are alive. So wake up every day, every morning when you wake up. Repeat these 3 words in your life and say, I am alive. Because you will realize that there's nothing more beyond this. When I say I am alive, that doesn't mean that we forget the small parts of our journey. We tend to ignore what makes our lives. We tend to forget that gratitude is the greatest blessing. With lots of family members and friends who were my support pillars in the journey, they've taught me that there's nothing greater than them. Your family members make the whole soul part of your life. They are your backbone. They tend to be not behind you, but with you. They tend to support you, guide you, and be with you at all times. I do remember my first encounter with myself after I lost my hair. It was 2 weeks into my treatment, and one morning when I stood in front of the mirror, I realized that the left portion of my head had absolutely no hair. I could see some strands hanging from the right side, but no hair on the left side. That day was followed by a number of days when I tried to escape looking at myself in the mirror and always wearing a cap. Was I actually escaping the people around me? I don't think so. By wearing a cap, I was escaping an encounter with my own reflection, with how I saw myself. To my rescue came my father. He said, look at yourself in the mirror, because that's how you're going to see yourself in the next few months. The way people will look at you is how you see yourself. The way people look at you is how you see yourself. And that's a very, very important learning in our lives. People will see us the way we see ourselves. When we talk of words like self-love, when we talk of words like gratitude, the first person that we need to respect is ourselves. Look into yourself, feel loved, and you will see people around you falling in love with you. I also remember an episode which was my first encounter with general public. A few days after my last chemo cycle, I went outside and I came across people. I felt like an alien. All eyes on me. They noticed my frail body. They noticed no hair on my head. They noticed no hair on my face. But it didn't bother me. By then, I had learned survival. I had learned that I am alive. I had learned that how I see myself is how people will see me. People will see me the way I look at myself. And I was absolutely in love with myself by then. So when we say bald to bold, I absolutely love sharing my bald pictures. I love sharing it with people. I love showing it to them. Because I feel I admire myself more when I look at my bald side. That's the real me. No outer beauty. That's the inner beauty that I see in myself. When I say bald to bold, I see a new me. I see a transition. I see that I am not what I was before. With the hair that I lost the old me. The old me, which was fearsome. The new me, which is fearless. The old me, which was ambitious. The new me, which is still ambitious, but ambitious about myself. Ambitious about where I see myself. When I say bald, I see that I am one representative who loves herself the way she is. For she is alive. For she sees the world the way the world sees her. She admires herself. She loves herself. And when I say bald, I see myself standing here on this beautiful red carpet in front of this lovely audience, giving my first TED talk. It's nowhere close to what I had scripted, nowhere close to what I had written down. And let me tell you, dear audience, I had actually prepared well. But being here, seeing you, I had different words. I had different words. And trust me, a lot of what I said just now was nowhere on my script. Nowhere. It came from within. It came from what I never thought would make it. When I say bald, I see myself a step further. I see myself as the academic coordinator who was not the one before. This opportunity came after my diagnosis, after my return back to school. So when I can be there, in spite of all the flaws, in spite of all the problems, the illness, everything, if I can be here, so can you be. No illness, no treatment, no flaws can pull you down. Nothing. Nothing can withdraw the power that is within you, the power that you hold inside you. Nothing can take that away from you. No illness, no treatment, nothing. Tell this to yourself every morning. Tell yourself that you are powerful. Tell yourself that you are alive. Time and again, when I say the word alive, I want you to do this exercise every morning. Because it is with this word that you learn the power of being grateful. Grateful for what you have. I'll share a little episode again here. If you look at the previous picture, if you remember the slide that you saw, I'll show that to you again. You can notice the long hair that I had. I remember how I went to the barber for a haircut. I would just threaten him, telling him not to go beyond an inch. And that was the required trim. I mean, that's a basic that you ask for. I said, please. I'm using the word please, but I would actually threaten him by saying not beyond an inch. And here I am today. If somebody just now comes and tells me, please donate the little hair that you have, I'll be more than willing. I've learned that detachment. I've learned that what I have is far beyond the outer things that we possess. Hair is just a part of your outer beauty. That just makes you look beautiful. And when I say beautiful, I don't mean to say that I don't look beautiful bald. I do. From straight hair to curly hair, I am grateful for every bit that I have with me. I am grateful for every body part that is here with me. I am grateful for the people in my life. I am grateful to my parents, to my sister, to my family members, to my friends, to my students, to my school. Everybody's been with me. When I say with me, I see them with me. When I stand here, I see them with me. When I say students, I remember how I rejoined school last year after my medical leave with a wig on my head. Although I had accepted myself, but somewhere down the lane I felt that children might not look at me the way they are supposed to. And for about 45 days, I carried a wig on my head. And just within a month, I couldn't carry it, and I just removed. And I remember how children reacted when they saw me. It was far, far behind from what I expected. I expected some faces, some, as if they'd seen an alien. It's nowhere close to what I'm saying. What I saw in their eyes is what I carry for life. I saw respect for myself. I saw love for myself. And I saw how hair did not make a difference. I'll end on a very beautiful note. I began my talk here with the statement that this time the storyteller is the story. This is not my story. This is just a chapter of my story. My story is yet to be written. And I am going to write my story. So remember, dear children, the small episodes of your life are not your story. They are just chapters. And those chapters are very important in your life. With that, I end my speech. Thank you.